Well, Rod, I want to talk about the whole idea of computers, used computers in particular. The Christmas season, I suppose, is the time when we give computers to people, or, any time throughout the year, I suppose, we buy computers and give computers. Sometimes we buy them new, and sometimes we get a super-duper deal, we think, when we buy a used computer. Or if we sell our current computer and give it to somebody else, we get a nice trade-in price, and everything works out so that we can buy a new computer. But a situation came up with the Staples group of stores where they were selling used computers, and they had a little problem because some of the customers noticed that the computers they were buying had other people's personal private information on them. And that certainly wasn't a good thing. I want to talk to a company now that is Gephardt approved, PC Laptops. Being Gephardt approved means I have investigated the company, and I have investigated the way they conduct business and the way they treat their customers. And as a result, they're Gephardt approved, and with that comes my guarantee, which I don't think I'll ever have to execute. And that is, if any customer gets cheated by a Gephardt approved company, I will offer out of my pocket up to $1,000 in a refund to make it right. But all the companies that are Gephardt approved, I have investigated them. I trust them. I frankly don't think I'll ever have to pay any of the money because these companies won't let me. PC Laptops is one of those companies, and the owner is Dan Young. Dan, welcome to the program this afternoon.
How you doing, Bill?
Good. So you sell used computers. Sometimes you take in a computer to give somebody a new computer and a trade, and then you'll sell that computer. But sometimes we think erasing of the information on there involves just simply going in and clicking on something that says erase, but that doesn't do it, does it?
It doesn't. In fact, a lot of those files are still recoverable on those computers, so if they seemed erased, they're usually not erased completely.
How does that work? Because I can't find them after I erase them. They do not appear to exist on my computer.
So think about this. It's almost like a book. It's almost like tearing out the table of contents page out of a book, but the rest of the book is still there. So there's a piece of software that we have, and you simply just hit restore, and it puts that table of contents back in most cases, and all your files mystically reappear.
So about everything, I suppose, that I've ever done on my computer is still there. Is that roughly correct? Even if I've tried to erase it?
Well, most of your recently erased files will probably still be there. If it's a long time ago and you've overwritten them with other information, they could be a little bit tougher to read. But anything more recently erased will most likely be there unless you've installed or created something and wrote over it.
Okay. So what is it you do at PC Laptops? If I buy a used computer from you, or if I trade my computer in that you might sell to somebody else, what is it you do to ensure my privacy?
So there's a few things we do. One, when people trade in a computer, we normally give them a couple options. Some people want to keep their old hard drive, actually, and we can take that and mount that in a little caddy and hand it back to the original owner. That way you have a copy of all your original data. That's very popular nowadays. If you don't want your old hard drive, we can write them with special software, and we wipe them multiple times over and over again to make sure that everything is guaranteed to be completely erased up to a pretty high level of standard. That way, recovery of data would be nearly impossible on something that's that thoroughly done.
That word nearly bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, the wipes now, if we use the software that we do, they can take many hours to do the wipe. And with that, it's 99.99999% of it's wiped off. Typically, some of the ways that people do it now, if you simply just erase the file or format a hard drive or something like that, there's a great chance that the data is recoverable. But with this multiple pass wipe, it is pretty virtually impossible to recover. And I say virtually impossible because there may be a bit or two, but usually not something that's constructible into something that's recoverable.
Well, we hear all this. We hear all the time about things being recoverable. I have literally, as a reporter, gone out and found a computer at a used store, booted the thing up, and I had access, in one case, to private hospital information.
Right.
That apparently did not go to that kind of trouble. When you do this is a many-hour erase. I understood once from you guys that this is a government standard of some sort.
Right. There are certain standards for deletion of data that are required for different federal departments, Department of Justice and such, to make sure that that data is erased to where it's virtually, again, almost completely impossible.
Do you know what? You're just not giving me the confidence that I'd like to have. When you keep saying virtually and nearly and almost and, oh boy, really close, 99.9.
You know, the only way to guarantee that something is completely gone is to physically destroy a piece of hardware. And that's where a lot of times where we have drives that are older drives that are no longer usable because they're too small, we physically will shred the drives, punch holes in them, physically destroy them, and destroy those drives. Now, the software that we use, again, is pretty darn strong.
Yep.
And it erases, again, just about everything. But we always put that micro disclaimer of maybe 1 bit or 2 may be recoverable, not into a full document or even one sentence or a word. But that disclaimer has to be in there because even if 1 bit could possibly be recovered, you know.
Yeah, good. All right. All right, Dan Young at PC Laptops, a Gephardt-approved company. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. So there you go, Rod. If you're going to trade in your old computer, you know what? Maybe the best idea is don't do it by leaving your hard drive in. Take it out. At PC Laptops, certainly they'll put it in a sleeve, and then you can keep that information forever, and nobody else will ever get it. I think that might be the safest way.